What's going on, everybody? Blaise over here at Blue Chip Athletic Club. Thank you all for tuning in to the Blue Chip Athletic Club podcast. Today is August the 13th. Before we get into what we're going to chat about today, I've been working super hard on a ton of programs for you guys. I'm stoked to premiere our Stronger Together program, which is going to kick off here on September 1st. I actually think I'm going to open it up for podcast listeners a little bit early, so be on the lookout on our Instagram page as well as other social media pages. But essentially, this program is going to be made for parents and youth athletes to train together. That's right. You heard me correct. If you're a parent who's been struggling to kick off your own health and wellness journey, if you have a youth athlete, typically somewhere between the ages of 10 and 18, looking to improve at his or her sport, this program is totally for you. It's 45 days long. It's going to be catered programming, including challenges, nutritional resources, ebooks, and access to a community of people that are super incredible. That'll be all around you. So we're really stoked to kick into that. And if you're a youth athlete that happens to be listening to this, definitely looking to improve on the field, or a parent that's looking to kind of build some connection with a kid. One of your kids in particular, this program is totally for you. So again, we're going to be opening up Stronger Together on September the 1st with early access for you guys and Instagram followers as well. So just want to touch on that. And as we kind of get into the episode today, I wanted to kind of touch on something about a health topic that came up and on Dr. Rangan Chatterjee's podcast, which is Feel Better, Live More. It's one that I've been listening to for a little while now, and I kind of wanted to hit on a couple of the things that he discusses and talks about in his, we'll call, mantra of health, with a special guest that was on there. So it's going to be about glucose spikes, how they can be used to help control your weight just by changing the order in which you eat food. And I'm going to break that down for us really fast. So basically, this is going to be a nice big graph here, graphical depiction for those of you that are listening on YouTube or video version. You should be able to see this kind of over here. Look at these two curves. You essentially have a normal, we'll call stable blood glucose curve, which is going to be in purple. And for those of you that are just listening, it's basically staying in a pretty normalized, we'll call sine wave, in the middle of kind of what a normal range would be. And then you've got this other red curve that has a huge jump and then another downward dip that's kind of out of what we'll call that like median and normal range. So I'm going to end up making a few analogies here just so that I can break this down. So we've got, the x-axis is going to be time, y-axis is going to be glucose range. And I just want to say, like, this red curve is basically like me post Thanksgiving dinner. So like, think like, hey, I'm going to eat, I'm a little bit hungry, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to stuff my face until I can't walk and somebody has to roll me down the stairs. That's what's going to be here on this red curve that brings me out of the blood glucose range based on what I'm having. Basically what happens when it comes to health effects, in the short term, when your blood glucose spikes, your energy is going to go down, your focus is going to go down, you're going to be less hungry, which is great. And typically your mood is also going to decrease or deteriorate. In the long term, if you're somebody who is, riding this, we'll call high amplitude curve, you're going to have more oxidative stress, glycation, inflammation, and weight gain. And I'm going to talk about those kind of terms here in a bit. But if you're somebody who is able to mediate and be able to like ride that more stable curve over time, you're going to have a better understanding of your cravings. Your energy intake is going to be better. And in general, it's going to be healthier for you. So the way that glucose affects your body is that immediately after eating, your blood glucose is going to spike, and that's going to basically spark the release of insulin into your cells to absorb the glucose and use it for energy. So when this happens in the short term, you basically get tired, lose focus, you aren't hungry, and your mood is a bit blah. So think like post-eating food coma after an enormous meal, i.e. like Thanksgiving. In the long term, glucose spikes are going to lead to those kind of other side effects, which I'm going to talk about here. So oxidative stress is essentially an imbalance of free radicals, which is basically like a toxin that's in the body, and your body is having a difficult time getting rid of or detoxifying from those harmful chemicals. And it's essentially going to be leading to cell and tissue damage, i.e., not good for you. Glycation is another side effect of long-term kind of blood glucose spikes. And this is where sugar will bind to a protein, fat, or an acid without an enzyme, which essentially will cause harmful compounds to be formed, which can lead to arthritis, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease. So, i.e., again, not good for you. And I think everybody kind of understands the effects of inflammation and weight gain over time. So, in the end of the day, it's advantageous for you if you're able to limit glucose spikes in the short term and in the long term, and to keep your body functioning more optimally. And I've got a really simple tip to do that. I'm not going to tell you to eat less food. I'm not going to tell you to move more. I'm just going to tell you that shifting the order in which you eat your meals can help reduce your glucose spikes, and this is the way you're going to do it. So first things first, you're going to eat your veggies. Eating your veggies, we can almost act like it's a sort of lubricant for the digestive system. So eat your veggies, and it's going to help promote help improve your body's ability to process glucose as it enters your body and reduce insulin spikes over time. Part 2 is going to be eating your proteins. Protein synthesis is going to be improved when the veggies are kind of paving the path. So you're going to have better protein synthesis, better muscular recovery, and perform better over time. And then last is going to be eating your starchy carbs. This is going to be for kind of the last part of the meal, cap everything off. It's going to make sure that you're taking in your satiating proteins, essential for muscular growth and improved functionality. And then your starchy carbohydrates are going to be thin, kind of rounds out the diet, because that's going to be, that last piece of the pie where it's going to take longer to digest, but you've basically lubed up the system. You've understood your hunger and thirst cues better, and then you're able to kind of improve over time. And step 4, obviously smile, because you just helped reduce your glucose spikes and improve your overall health. So that's kind of what I wanted to chat about real quick. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is going to be another analogies. I'm full of them today. It's going to be about the elephant, the rider, and the path. I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Precision Nutrition, the company that I'm doing my Master Nutrition certification through, for giving me this analogy and this kind of tool to chat with clients or potential clients or you guys about this overall kind of mindset when it comes to changing your health and wellness. So we're going to kind of get into it here. So first component is going to be the elephant. The elephant in the analogy, obviously depicted here, is going to be the reactionary part of the brain. So this is lizard brain. This is the thing that drives your instinct. This is going to be all those things. Think of it as like the big, strong. It's always the thing that's going to be truly in command at the end of the day. You can't really change that. Your first reaction to any and all situations. So it's going to be, hey, you've got RBF or whatever that kind of looks like for you. That's going to be it. So I like to think of it. It's like, hey, this is the 2-year-old kid who's got no logic and reason and rides emotional highs and lows, makes reactionary decisions, and all those things. Second is going to be the rider. We'll call this your second thought in the brain, if you will. So this is your thinky brain. This is like, hey, somebody punches you in the mouth or somebody says something mean to you. The elephant's going to be like, hey, I'm going to punch them back in the face or whatever. And then your thinky brain is the one that's like, okay, what are the consequences for doing this? And you're kind of trying to guide or steer the elephant in the right direction. But at the end of the day, it's safe to say that when push comes to shove, the rider is totally powerless against the elephant. The elephant has the power. It's always going to be kind of in what we'll call quote unquote command. And it's going to be something that's going to be really hard to overcome without a lot of training, dedicated time to where you can kind of master your own thoughts and your own reactions to different things throughout your life. Lastly, and I think where this is going to be most important to understand, is going to be the path. And the path is something that I think is undervalued and underdiscussed when it comes to your, ability to change and make change in your life, or start a health and wellness journey, save money, change your financial picture, buy a house, whatever that's kind of, and whatever your situation is. And that's going to be your environment. The path is going to be, this is going to be the shape, the way that you're going to go, the where and the how the journey is going to be for the elephant and the rider. So I like to think of this as like, hey, if the path is super rocky, really arduous, the elephant and the rider are going to have a really tough time accomplishing the task because of the path that you put them on. But on the other side of that coin, if the path is clear and simple, the elephant and the rider can navigate without much difficulty and kind of work towards that common goal. So think about, hey, you're somebody who wants to, I don't know, eat less or eat different snacks. And you decide like, hey, the rocky path for me personally would be, hey, let's set a jar of peanut butter on the counter next to an apple or whatever. And it doesn't even need to be that. We'll say, even make it worse. Let's say there's a jar of peanut butter and Oreos right there. And I'm like, dude, I love Oreos. I love peanut butter. I'm going to take the Oreos and dip it in peanut butter. And I have to tell myself every time I walk by it, no, you will not do that. Eventually you're going to cave. The John Berardi, the person who started Precision Nutrition, has a law, and if it's in your house, you're eventually going to eat it. So a way that you can make that path more simple and clear is you can either have the food that you don't want to be triggering and or the thing that you want to eat in your house or in your line of sight. The other thing that you could do is you could put it in a place that's more difficult to get to, raise the barrier for entry, make that path more difficult when you want it to be, and then more simple when you want it to be, so that you can help kind of carve out the way that you navigate throughout your life. So I kind of talked about this, like, why does it matter? One of my elephant rider and path analogies I will give to you is going to be, my snacking. I will come back from work and pretty much immediately would go back and I would open the fridge or the pantry and grab a snack out. Now, personally, I'm all about the cold snacks, but if you're somebody who, comes, especially when it's hot out, right? If you're somebody who comes back from work and you're like immediately to the pantry, I think that you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. So my elephant is like, I'm going to the fridge, I'm going to the pantry, and I'm snacking right now because I'm riding my most likely glucose low, which means that my body's going to cue hunger cues and going to make me want to eat. And the rider in me is telling myself like, hey, I don't need the snacks. And at the end of the day, that fails miserably because I've already had 4 handfuls of whatever I'm going to have. And clearly the elephant is like prevailing at that point. So what I could do is I could shift the path. And the way that I could shift the path is I could put healthier snacks in at height of eye. So that's in the fridge or in the pantry. We could put a seltzer or a pack of gum somewhere that I know I'm always going to set my keys down, or somewhere in the in sight and in mind versus out of sight, out of mind, to help kind of curb that hunger sensation. I could put a sticky note on the fridge that says "Drink water first, you dummy." Whatever you kind of want to use. The eventual path that I typically will take is I typically will end up swapping the snacks and putting berries or something like that, nutrient dense foods, versus crushing the whole jar of peanut butter or donuts or whatever that are on the counter. All right. So my question for you all moving forward is, what is your goal? What is the thing that you're striving for? Do you have an elephant? Do you have a rider? Do you have a path? Is there a way that you can shape your path or train your rider to overcome obstacles that are in your way? Or are you letting the elephant dictate where you're going to go, and then the path be something that's super arduous to help you get to your goal? So that's all I have for you guys for today. I just want to say thank you again for listening. If you're tuning in on whatever you're on, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever that is, if you could, drop us a 5-star review. It really helps us kind of grow and help get the message that we give out to everybody, to more and more people, so we can help more and more people live the happiest, healthiest lives over time. So remember, you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. We'll see you guys next time.